Sign-on bonuses, crazy pay-per-mile promises. You've seen it all, right? If you're a driver, you are just buried in recruitment ads. But is that stuff what actually makes a job good? In this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise and get to what drivers are really looking for. So let's dive in. So right out of the gate, let's just tackle the biggest myth in driver recruiting. Everybody, and I mean everybody, wants to talk about pay. But is that the whole story? I mean, really? Or is there something deeper, something more fundamental that decides if a job is a good fit for you in the long run? We're going to find out. Okay, first things first. Let's talk about a driver's real priorities. This is all about what truly matters when you look past the dollar signs on that paycheck. We hear this from drivers again and again. So look at this. Pay, yeah, it's a big piece of the pie, about 35%. But it's not the whole thing, not by a long shot. Check out what really takes up the space here. Respect, honesty, and home time. You put those together, and that's almost 2/3 of what drivers care about. It's about being treated like a human being, getting straight answers, and, actually having a life outside of the truck. And this right here, this is the big one for so many drivers. It's the absolute non-negotiable. You can't put a price tag on a kid's birthday or a wedding anniversary. No amount of money buys that time back. A company that understands that, that's a company that gets its drivers. Because what good is a fat paycheck if your life is just happening without you back home? All right, section 2, picking the right company. This is all about you taking control and doing your own research to find a carrier that actually does what it says it's going to do. And it's not that complicated. Here are 3 simple, super practical steps. First, go talk to the drivers who are out there working for the company right now. And I don't mean some hand-picked guy the recruiter sets you up with. I mean the drivers you meet at a truck stop. Second, you got to ask about their turnover rate. If drivers are leaving as fast as they're coming in, that is a massive red flag. And third, demand real numbers. Not vague promises, but hard, actual data on pay and miles. This is how you see past the sales pitch. Which brings us right to our next section, cutting through the recruiter hype. You have to learn to spot the difference between a sales tactic and a cold, hard fact. Think of this as your personal hype detector. Look at the left side. That's the vague stuff you always hear. You'll get plenty of home time. What on earth does plenty even mean? Or earn up to 70 cents per mile. Up to are the magic words there, because it usually means that rate is almost impossible to get. Now look at the right. Those are the answers you need. Specifics, guarantees, averages. You have to push for the answers on the right. And if a recruiter won't give them to you, well, that tells you everything right there. So getting real answers means you got to ask the right questions. This is your essential checklist. Don't talk to a single recruiter without it. This is your must-have list. Ask about average weekly miles, not some best-case scenario. Ask for a guarantee on home time and get it in writing. The on-time freight percentage, that tells you how organized they are. And asking about turnover, and more importantly, why people leave, that's pure gold. And finally, if they get squirrely about letting you talk to a driver who's been there for a while, huge problem. Okay, this brings us to the most important part of all, figuring out the difference between the truth and a sales pitch. This is the final test before you make any decision. Here's the thing. The truth is always, always consistent. The story you get from the recruiter should be the exact same story you hear from a dispatcher and the exact same story you hear from a driver at a fuel stop. The numbers line up, the policies are clear, the story never changes. A sales pitch, on the other hand, it's slippery. It changes. The recruiter tells you one thing, the orientation leader tells you something else. You ask the same question 3 different times and you get 3 different answers. Well, that's your answer right there, isn't it? Those little inconsistencies, they show you the gap between the promise and the reality. So in the end, this isn't about chasing the biggest paycheck. It's about finding a company where you're respected, where you're told the truth, and where you can actually have a life. You have to remember, a recruiter's job is to get a body in the seat. Your job is to ask the hard questions to make sure it's the right seat for you.